So now that we have a general idea what exactly strength is, we're going to look at the 5 patterns that need to be loaded to have general, overall functional strength. And remember, we're talking about loading, it's another word for lifting. We're saying loaded movement pattern because it implies that whatever our movement capability is, that's what we're going to reinforce. That's what we are practicing every time, including any compensation and any strength that's there. So it really puts the emphasis on creating the healthy movement pattern and then appropriately loading, not just saying that we've gotten stronger because we can lift more. Can we perform that loaded movement with all the correct timing, sequencing, the firing of the stabilization muscles? Does it look right? Are we experiencing a true total body lift using all of our fascial lines? So these are the 5 movements. We have the hinge. Again, we talked about this one. It was the one I demonstrated. This serves as foundation for when we are picking stuff up off the ground. When we do our ballistic kettlebell exercises, such as a swing, we're just speeding up that hinge movement. Highly important. Push. A push, and for that matter, a pull, can be any plane of motion. We can be pushing and pulling in a horizontal plane. We can be pushing and pulling overhead. You'll see different angles of a push and pull. It all depends on the intensity, the intent, and what is appropriate for the student who's practicing that strength move. Squat, touched on that one. Holding weight, descending and coming back up with it. Carry, implies just what it is. You have weight, you're holding it in some way, whether you're holding it like a suitcase, one hand, maybe 2-hand carry, maybe you're holding in our kettlebell rack position, maybe overhead. Again, that depends on what the goal is and how well the movement capacity is. And lastly down here, we have a special kind of category for the Turkish get-up. Turkish get-up covers all these needs with the exception of a really strong hinge. There's a lot of excellent programming that's come out in the StrongFirst community that revolves around just a hinge movement and the Turkish get-up. The hinge could be a deadlift or a swing. The get-up serves as a press. We have hinge and press underlined here. Again, pushes the press movement. If you practice, a minimalist program can be comprised of a hinge movement and a push movement, or a hinge and a get-up, and that's going to cover all the general strength base that you're going to need. That's for the time crunched, that don't have time to train, an hour, 3 days a week. They may need a program they can do in 20, 30 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week. Minimalist to cover the needs. And this is, again, it's going to cover your metabolic needs. It's going to allow you to partake in a variety of activities. I think we all want the biggest return from our investment when we invest in our workout and our training practice. I'm going to demonstrate the get-up real quick since it is kind of an unknown lift outside the kettlebell community. Here's what it looks like. So we're coming down here. It starts on the ground. We come up to a standing position. So it's going through our whole neurodevelopmental sequence as we learn to come off the ground and up into a standing position. It requires stability in each position, as well as you can see optimal mobility, shoulder mobility, mobility in the hips, coordinated timing and effort. And it's going through movement. It's touching on all of our FMS screen moves, which I will touch on next. We're going to start to break down how we go about determining where somebody is in their strength needs, their movement needs. But that's the get-up. So we'll be back. We'll start talking about what you need to do in order to understand what is going to be the appropriate loaded patterns that you should be practicing at this time. See you soon.